August 29th, 2016. Guys, I know I've been paying a lot of attention to the tropics, but we're reaching the peak of hurricane season on September 10th, and that very quick rise to that peak right now. It's not a real slow rise. It's a very fast peak within a few weeks. But what we've had is a 7.1 earthquake followed by a 5.0 aftershock. Now, this is the southern mid-Atlantic ridge. It's probably the largest fault zone on the planet. Now, we know we've got a lot of heat over the Atlantic. We can tell that by the tropical storms. But, guys, that's not what happened in this case. There was a solar filament release this morning, and it was directly earth-facing. It was on the earth-facing side of the sun. I'll show you that on the SDO. Look in the top right quadrant of the sun. You can barely see it, but what happened was you can have a release point from either one of these filaments as you see it rise, but it happened that it released from the far right corner that caused a whip-like motion back towards the planet Earth. Now, it was not directly fired at us, but they radiate out 180 degrees on this side of the sun, and we've seen these filament releases many times before. As they release that first initial burst, we'll get a quake within that day. Then the coronal mass ejection will follow within 24 to 48 hours. If you watch closely, you're going to see an explosion on the surface of the sun, and what that is called a Hyder flare. Look it up. It's called spelled H-Y-D-E-R. What it is the amount of the energy from that filament release that could not escape the gravity of the sun collapses back, causing a secondary explosion. We also feel that if it's an Earth-facing image. Notice again, top left quadrant. If that filament continues to grow, it looks like the weakest point is in the very top left section. If that is so, then it will release from that point, and that whip-like motion, guys, will throw it at us. Now, you've got this disturbance off Africa that has a 0% chance of developing within 24 hours, but that changes on the 5-day forecast. Now, Gaston is doing exactly what we thought. It's moving northeast into cooler waters. You notice it is now down to a Cat 2, but is moving northeast, not northwest. Here's the one that really concerns me. It has from day one. It's starting to slow down. Notice 5 miles an hour moving north-northwest. As it slows, guys, it gives it more time to build up strength. It's over warm water and extremely warm air. Believe me, I know I'm down here. And that just makes it that much worse. Now, 5-day forecast, you can see you've got a much stronger chance of that storm coming off of Africa. And notice that it's a straight projection, not a curved one up into the Atlantic. This is the one that we're talking about, September 10th. But this has a 50% chance within 5 days of becoming a tropical cyclone. And it's not named, and this one's not named, and that's why they're on the chart, not with the other ones. The one off the Texas-Louisiana coast is still sitting there with the center circulation over the Gulf, and it's going to continue to pump rain on you guys in Texas and Louisiana. Now, drop below there. Here's Invest 99, guys. I'm afraid this may become a monster. The water temperatures it's entering now are the warmest on the entire planet that we exist on. And you can see gas in the top right, again from Cat 3 to Cat 2 now. But also there's 2 centers of circulation off the Carolina coast. And that's what we're talking about in this morning's video when I said we could have 3 storms scraping up the East Coast. You could have those 2, and then you could have Tropical Depression now 9 change and, follow them up that East Coast. I want you to notice something about Tropical Depression 9 in the Gulf. Those are the highest cloud tops that we've seen in the entire 10 days or so that we've been tracking this storm. And you can see the tropical forecast plot as it curves back into the just west of the east of the panhandle of Florida. Notice that it's going to follow the first 2 storms right up that East Coast, and you're already getting rain. Look at the current radar, guys. But the way that Tropical Depression 9 is ramping up, the moisture that it is pulling in is massive. They're squeezing out a dry area that's north of the Campeche Bay area, and I'll show you that on the water vapor map. But this thing could change, but right now it's going to be so large that even coming in at that point in that section of Florida south of Panama City and the peninsula there, it could be so massive you're going to see a lot of rain and flooding. Now, two models keep it going into Texas near the Mexico border, but the purple model that we watched from Canada actually shows it going through Florida, Georgia, Carolina, and then moving back south. You see that in the purple line, guys, back to southern Georgia. And that's within this forecast period. This has been updated at 8 p.m. tonight. Also, this is from the same model that has the purple line, Canadian Meteorological Center. The same tracking. My point is that it's going to be a little larger than they think. They're already starting to show impressive tightening in the rain bands. This is the accumulated precipitation and the sea level pressure along with the streamlines. Check that out. Now, look at your timestamp. December 2nd. You've got the storms have already raked the Carolinas on the East Coast, and here comes probably will be Tropical Depression 9 at this time, but it will weaken over land. I'm going to back this up. Notice August 31st, what's happening. In Florida, guys, you've already got a system off the East Coast, and this is tomorrow as we look at August 30th. This is the 29th as I'm doing the video. So we're starting to see rain build up here. It's going to move up the East Coast. And you're going to see more than likely Tropical Depression 9 turn into Tropical Storm 9. Could become a Cat 1 or Cat 2. They've underestimated how hot it is here. Now look at the enhanced satellite view again. This has been updated as of 8:35 p.m. That's East Coast time. Look at the water vapor imagery that's below this enhanced satellite image. Very large storm entering the Gulf. You also notice the storm off the Texas-Louisiana coast. And guys, you see you're already getting moisture over the Florida Peninsula. That means any additional water will add to the flooding potential. But now you can see the spin on this water vapor loop of the very core of Tropical Depression 9. The very reason I'm here is that storm. Notice something else. The top feeder bands from Tropical Depression 9 are feeding into the system that's off the Louisiana-Texas coast, guys. That's additional moisture. You see this zigzag line? It's going to all connect. And since that system off the Florida-Texas coast, Louisiana-Texas coast is still over warm water, it could be flooding from Texas to Florida. Now, just backing up on Tropical Depression 8, you notice now it's going to curve out into the Atlantic, but it's showing 50-mile-per-hour winds all the way through 2 p.m. on Thursday. As it increases, the further north it gets, it's going to kill that energy because of the cooler water. But remember, it could be much wider than just this particular track. That's not the size of the storm. That's the variable in the track itself from the left to the right. So you could get a lot of flooding rain in this area, followed by that second low pressure system, and then followed by what remains of whatever Tropical Depression 9 turns into. So be prepared for flooding in all of these areas. And then we've got a system coming in around September 9th or 10th off the African coast, guys, that could affect the very same area. Now what I'm going to do here is put up a short video that we recorded a couple of days ago on August 26th when we first came down here, guys. I had to move my sailboat 4 miles into the Big Lagoon area, Perdido, to get to another marina where they had the ability to lift it and put it up on the jack stands. But I'm going to back out with the audio and just let you listen to the wind and the sound of the Blue Angels, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe. We're watching it all.